Hello you glorious gamers, I'm ChadOfStats and we are diving into 21 3DS games that I recommend. March 27th is the day that the 3DS eShop closes down permanently. So I compiled a list of games that I recommend getting hold of before that time. Of course you can still get hold of the games physically, but depending on where you live they may be a challenge and pricey. Just make sure to get DLC before the eShop closes. I have either played the games on this list or they stand out as games I want to play. So really this list is for me as much as it is for you. And of course, they're all RPG. Also, this list is in random order. I'm not saying number 4 is better than number 21. Dragon Ball Fusions. This game actually surprised me. I remember seeing it years ago in a store. I was mildly curious, but passed over it. Now that I've actually played it, I am recommending it. You create your own character from a variety of options and enter a tournament to find the best fighter in all of space and time. This game is full of fan service and the story is very lighthearted. Gameplay is turn-based, in an arena that you knock your opponents out of to get more turns. Of course there's a fusion, hence the name. You are capable of freely fusing your characters in this game. It's great fun. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. I've actually bounced off this game a few times. While it is a slow start, it has a rather dark, intriguing story. After getting quizzed, you are given, or can choose, your own and partner's Pokemon forms. From there you are sent into the world as a Pokemon and go on an adventure. It's a mystery dungeon game, so you travel through and explore various dungeons. Specifically, mystery dungeons. Dungeons whose layout change every time you enter them. You must defeat enemies while avoiding traps and your own hunger. Mystery dungeon games are really a hit or miss with people. Some find the constant dungeon crawling tedious. I personally enjoy some of them. Etrian Mystery Dungeon. Another mystery dungeon game, this time based on the dungeon exploring Etrian Odyssey series, except in mystery dungeon form. Now this game has even mystery dungeon fans divided on it. Once more, it is the mystery dungeon formula, but with an Etrian Odyssey twist. And yes, the main reason I put it on this list is because it has a job system, and I like being able to design my own team. Funnily enough, the first time I played this game, I was KO'd by the first enemy I fought. Repeat that 3 times over. Yeah, I never said I was good at this type of game. As for DLC, this game has them. Most Atlas games do. Etrian Odyssey Nexus. This belongs to the mainline series of Etrian Odyssey games. It is a first-person dungeon crawler where you engage in turn-based battles. You literally will map out the dungeon in this game. I chose this one specifically because it has the most job classes. Am I obsessed with job classes in games? Yes. However, all the Etrian Odyssey games on the 3DS are worth the play. They are standalone games. So pick whichever you fancy. Still an Atlas game though, so DLC ahoy. Persona Q2. Do you want your first-person dungeon crawling experience to have a Persona flavored coat of paint? Then you might like Persona Q2. You still map out dungeons and engage in turn-based battles. But the cast of Persona 3, 4 and 5 are along for the ride. That is a lot of characters. I chose this over the first game due to it having more features, such as more affinities and skills, and it includes the roster of Persona 5, which Persona Q does not have, and both have DLC, such as DLC Personas. Monster Hunter Stories. A spin-off of the Monster Hunter series and an absolute gem. Instead of real-time combat, you enter the world of monster taming and turn-based battles. While I prefer the sequel that released on the Switch and PC, this game is still definitely worth a play. You hatch monsters to ride and battle alongside. Yes, your character gets to take part in battles also. My only complaint is the chibi nature of your partner monsters, or monsties as they call in the game, which they fixed in the sequel. Yes, I will make the comparison. This is basically Monster Hunter meets Pokemon. For those worrying, you can still craft armor from monsters. No mixed sets unfortunately, but there is a decent amount of armor sets. Bravely Default. Another gem of a game. Well, actually all the games on this list are gems, but this one shines especially bright. It is a turn-based game that allows you to break the game over your knee, and you might need to. This game is quite a challenge, one that I highly enjoyed. There were so many times that my party got absolutely wrecked. As for the story, well, of course, it centers around crystals. Never change, Square Enix, never change. The towns are beautifully drawn, and I love discovering new ones. It features the Brave and Default system, allowing you to bank turns, or spend future turns to be able to attack more times than your current turn. Bravely Second. The sequel to Bravely Default. It's essentially more of the same from the first game, just new characters, story, and jobs. Nothing wrong with that. Highly enjoyed this one also. Of course, the game still broke me over its knee before I learned to do the same to it. Project X Zone 2. This game can't be real. It feels like a fever dream. It's a crossover between Bandai Namco, Capcom, and Sega. A tactical role-playing game where you move your characters across the map, continuing into battle where you must wail on your enemies with your chosen characters. Honestly, I would have added the first Project X Zone to the list, but I like the sound of 21 games better than 22. So feel free to sync with this at a double recommendation. These games are just good fun, and isn't that what we need more of these days? Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. Probably one of the most beloved Dragon Quest games, or just RPGs in general. Dragon Quest VIII was remade for the 3DS, originally coming out on the PlayStation 2. The remake adds many things over the original, including no more random encounters! Instead, you can see the enemies in the overworld, as well as adding 2 new recruitable characters to your party. There is also this fun monster fighting arena minigame that I love the idea of. The arena is in both versions, but I just wanted to mention it. It is both frustrating and fun in practice. Overall, this game could be surprisingly challenging at times. I had to stop and grind levels just to stand a chance on some boss fights. Also, as a mainline Dragon Quest game, it is turn-based. Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. This game is more divisive than the last one. It is an excellent remake of the original that came out for the PlayStation 1, even streamlining many parts of the game, reducing how long it takes to finish. The length of the game is still a bit of a meme, however, as it is still easily over 60 hours long, longer for me. What I'm about to say may be a bit shocking, but I just prefer this game over Dragon Quest VIII. I really am a sucker for a good job system. My only complaint is that it takes easily over 15 hours to get to it. Definitely too long. Fantasy Life. I can only describe this game as cozy. In this game, you can live different lives, or jobs basically. You want to be a wizard? Go for it. But you can also be a cook or a carpenter. There are 12 life classes available to you, where one job can turn out to be beneficial to another. It is definitely the coziest game on this list. I mean, you can even decorate your homes. And yes, there is definitely more than one home you can have. The only thing I would recommend if you're interested in this game is to get the DLC before the eShop closes. Radiant Historia, Perfect Chronology. A game with time travel done right. This game originally came out for the Nintendo DS and was remade for the 3DS. It also has an interesting battle mechanic where the enemies are on a 3x3 grid in battle. Battle that is of course turn-based. Got to love it. It is worth noting that this game has various DLC. So if you want the... Wait, bathing costumes? Well, that aside, there are things like extra missions and stories available. Shin Megami Tensei 4. Imagine extreme ideologies clashing in a post-apocalyptic world. Add in some difficulty where you can recruit and fuse demons. This is basically Pokemon with demons. I'm comparing all monster catching like games to Pokemon, even if Shin Megami Tensei predates Pokemon by quite a while. As an Atlus game, they went all in with the DLC. Not everything is worth getting, but there is some story related DLC. Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. Shin Megami Tensei, but this one features the apocalypse, like the rest. This game takes place partway through Shin Megami Tensei and goes its own way from there. Sort of like a what if scenario or alternate universe. It does contain more quality of life features than 4 does. The story is not as well received, falling more in line with Persona and Devil Survivor, instead of the usual Shin Megami Tensei fare. As before, there is some DLC that might be worth checking out. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker. A spin-off of the mainline series. While still featuring demons, this is a tactical RPG, so there is a grid-based map. I'm choosing to list the sequel. This most certainly does not have to do with the fact that the main character looks like he has bunny ears. Honestly, they are both good. It's just that this one has better gameplay. Also, I really wanted the total number of games to be 21. Wait. The first game's main character has cat ears? I changed my mind. Both are mandatory. Also, another Atlus game, so look out for DLC. Stellar Glow. This game is fun. I love a good tactical RPG. Spoilers for some of the next few games on this list. I guess this is the SRPG section we own right now. I waited way too long to try this game. It is a gem. Also, I am a simple man. I see nice attack animations, therefore I like. I haven't actually finished this game yet, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far. Don't sleep on this game, or really any on this list, especially if they catch your interest. Fire Emblem Awakening. Of all the Fire Emblem games on the 3DS, Awakening probably grabbed my attention the most. It very quickly had me invested. An excellent example of a class system to outfit your units with. My only gripe with the game is that the feet on the character models are little nubs basically. It bothers me for some reason. Awakening is what essentially brought the series to mainstream popularity by making the game more approachable to the casual gamer. DLC wise, well, there is quite the collection. Best not to let it slip by. Fire Emblem Fates. Ah yes, the more infamous of the mainline games. Widely regarded as having excellent gameplay, but bad story. There are strangely enough 3 versions of Fates, so bear with me, this is important. There is Fire Emblem Fates Birthright and Fire Emblem Fates Conquest. In both versions you side with a different faction for the main story, heavily affecting the game. Both have physical releases. However, the third version, Fire Emblem Fates Revelations, was only physically available for the special edition, so it is otherwise relegated to the eShop, which is soon closing down, becoming another victim. Revelations offers a third part in the game, so if you're interested in Fire Emblem Fates, you'll need to move fast. Also, the character models have actual normal feet this time. LBX, Little Battlers Experience. Do you want to build and customize your own mini robot, battle against others and maybe save the world? This is a great game that took me a while to hear about, and longer still to gain interest in it. So I am shouting it from the rooftops. Gameplay is of the third-person action variety, taking place in portable mini arenas. Its customization system is surprisingly deep at times, with a fun story as well. There is no online multiplayer, but there is local. This game is made by Level 5, so maybe it being a good game shouldn't come as a surprise. Seventh Dragon 3 Code VFD. And yes, that is quite the mouthful of a title, so let me gush about this game. While I recommend all the games on this list, this might be one of my favorites. The order of the list is literally random, except maybe for this one. I'm just that fond of it. The game is basically about fighting dragons. How can you not love that? It features an excellent class system and character customization. You get to design your own teammates, even their voices. And let me tell you, there is a lot of well-known Japanese voice actors on the list. That might be one of the downsides for some people. This game has only Japanese voice acting, no option for English. It was translated to English however, and that is the list. I figured I would make this video as a send-off to an amazing system. Not that it's going anywhere anytime soon, but the eShop closing down does signify an end of an era. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the great fun and games. If you are still here and found this video helpful, entertaining, or just good to watch, please consider liking and subscribing. It will really help me out. Thank you for watching.